We're not gonna do this the whole time, okay?
That's not right. You can't do that. I mean, like,
I can do whatever I want.
Okay.
give her an opportunity to kind of get into it. You don't start in doing.
I didn't do it on live though. All right.
We're live.
We're
Let's
live.
go.
We're live.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. We're here. As you can see, we already starting, and my brother, he has absolutely no chill. But I'm so excited to introduce my little sis, Chantel. Woo! I'm so excited she's here. It's such a blessing and an honor to have her here. I gotta take these glasses off to get on my nerves. Thank you so much, Chantel, for coming. Oh my goodness, I don't even know where to start because I don't even think an hour is long enough because it's not, right?
No,
because I remember, I'll just say this. I'll tackle it like this. You've always been there for not just the Barnes family, but the Oliver family. And a lot of people don't realize that our families the history is really deep. You know,
Yeah.
we done ministry together, we supported each other,
Yes.
always there. And my mom, she wanted me to let the people know because she was like, I can't be there. I had somewhere to be, but I'm going to make sure you said this. She said, Chantel and David has always been there. They've never given her a hard time, always supported. And she said it, and she said, make sure you say it just like this. I love me some David and Chantel. That's hopefully I got it the right pitch and everything. So I'm saying that on behalf of my dad and Mimi, they really adore and appreciate you. And so we wanted to just give homage to you and your family. And girl, I ain't gonna start naming all y'all. There's a lot of y'all.
It's a lot of us.
But it's a whole, we all clamored around and worshiped together and did ministry together. So I appreciate you, honestly, from the depths of my heart, for just supporting me, even in the PK realm, when nobody else showed up. Hello, back in 2016.
Okay.
You were there. You supported me.
Her and her brother.
Huh?
Her and her brother.
Yes, her and David. I love you, David. My mother said, she told me to tell you this too, because I know you're going to be watching. She said, if it wasn't COVID, she was going to come and pull you out from wherever you are and hug your neck. Sirs. Okay? All right. Now we got that out of the way. What's next? I missed something else. I got to check my list. So I said all that to say, we appreciate just being so authentic and being consistent. Even my grandparents, they love you. My uncle, they love you. You and David. I ain't gonna spend another 5 minutes talking.
We start crying.
Yeah, I don't need no leakage right now. I don't have. Yeah, I got.
James, you're not gonna cry. We might cry. But you, I don't know.
Well, he already started off talking about you, which was so disrespectful.
It was.
I'm saved now, Chantel. I didn't got saved.
Well,
No,
praise
it
God.
didn't take. It's like a perm. It didn't take.
Oh, he got 4C hair. Need a couple rounds, huh?
I got one last round in another week, then I'll be there.
Okay.
You know, you gotta keep tearing.
So I know Mama Sharon is watching. So hey, Mama, I love you. Thank you so much for always supporting. And the whole crew, again, I'm not going to go into that. So Chantel, I want to take this opportunity to allow you the opportunity to talk about, give yourself some time to talk about what God is doing. We've done ministry together. We sang together. We've done a lot of stuff together. Back in the day, when nobody knew who we was.
You're right.
But now God has really just shown himself so great in your life. And it's such an honor and privilege just to be able to see it. So let the people know, like, what you're doing, what's going on, what you're working on, what has happened.
Absolutely. I'll just start with, I'm a wife now. You know, you guys have been like a part of my entire journey. So I'm a wife, and James loves my husband. I think he loves him more than me.
Hey, Phil. Now listen, I invited him just so the people know.
Yeah, but he has to teach Bible class tonight, so he's on there. So hey, honey. And then I have my children, my 2 children, Jaden and Cameron. And it's like you said, it's like the Lord has really shown his favor towards us in ministry, in music. We recorded an album, a few singles that are out right now. And then last year during the whole beginning of the pandemic, or I guess throughout the pandemic, the Lord allowed us to record again. So that is getting ready to come out this year. And that's been a beautiful thing. And it's just been really good, just seeing God's hand on my life. I was talking to someone, and I may have said this to you, sis, like I intended on being a contractual lawyer. I did not think that I was going to do what I'm doing today. I thought I was going to be in somebody's corner in an office, reading some paperwork, designing contracts. But God is really
okay. Yes, ma'am.
Still singing in Faith Pentecostal, right? This is my idea of what my life was going to look like. And you know, we were taught to say yes to the Lord at an early age, and I had no idea where that yes was going to take me. And boy, has it been a journey, and it really is just really getting started. But I'm really grateful for what God has done in my life.
Yes. That's it.
That's it, Chantel?
Hey.
You don't telling people what you're doing, girl. I'm telling people what you're doing.
Okay, so
y'all know church kids don't like talking about themselves.
No, they don't. But let me tell you something. If you guys have not had an opportunity to listen to her, go to my page, okay? All right, there's a clip, YouTube clip. Okay, go there. That doesn't really do justice, all right? When I tell you, I think it was about a couple of months ago, I talked about having greasy friends and being oily. You don't want no ashy friends. This is one of the friends I was talking about, but I don't really have a friend. She's more of a family member. This girl is very moisturized. She deep conditioned.
All right.
Okay. So when I say the oil is heavy, and I'm not saying this, I promise you, and Jay, you can co-sign. I'm not saying this, and I really say this from the pit of my heart. When I say oil and heavily moisturized, she sit under her steam cap. She all kind of coconut oil, shea butter. Listen, it's heavy because there's a story behind. And when you grow up with somebody, you get a chance to see all of the pages.
Mercy, Lord.
You see the end product and the end result. When people have counted us out, Chantel, and they talk about us, and the end result is beautiful, you can say, wow. The clip is great, but if you have not got a chance to experience the amazingness live, oh my goodness. This is certain things I can't say live, but there's some things I will say after we get off of this thing here. But certain people are overrated, and then there's certain people that are underrated, and you know what I'm talking about. And so I appreciate your gift. I appreciate the fact that there's deliverance. And I don't know if you remember this, but we were at old church, your uncle's church, and he said a sound. There was a sound. and that sound has been distributed. But now the sound has gone to the nations, and you have hit, you know what I'm talking about. I ain't gonna go too deep into it. Yeah. But I'm just saying, you're actually fulfilling the prophecy that was given and spoken over your life actually right now.
Absolutely. You know, it's just been, for me, it's been beautiful to watch the many words, the many prophecies unfold in my life, and especially, you know, just growing up, not really knowing what it was going to look like, not really knowing what it was going to take for it to unfold, and seeing God's hand on my life and being, I was telling my husband, we sat down, and it's so crazy that even this year, from all of our music being on different platforms to being asked to do virtual performances, we have been in over 6 countries alone this year. And I'm just like, you know, it's pretty amazing because the Lord has been faithful in that he's, you know, has said several times, you will go to the nations. You are made for the global church, and to see that fulfilled is a beautiful thing. So I am really excited about what's next. And I'm glad, honestly, just as happy as you guys are for me, I'm excited for you all just to see where God has brought all of us from. Legit, like,
we done been through the storm and rain, haven't we?
Listen. And sometimes didn't think the rain was ever gonna end, okay? But but thank God we are on the other side.
Yeah, I'm excited for what God is doing, and I'm excited for even all of the things that have deposited in us. We can all say this collectively, that the beginning of our ministries were deposited into Pentecostal.
Mm-hmm.
The name has changed, but and let's go further. Let's just take it further. Your grandfather.
Yeah.
We just gonna take it a step further. It started there. You know, I mean, it'd be like 5 of us, and we raised like $390,000. You know,
right? Like, how did that happen? I don't know what just happened in here. I don't know who else gave into this offering, because I'm sure I only gave 5.
Thank you. And then the fact that we gave, you had the holiday dinners, we gave Thanksgiving, and the fact that the community, and it just, yeah.
And you know what, for many years, because my grandfather was a proponent of like the church being rooted in the community. So beyond just the dinners, for many years, we had a partnership with the Greater Food Depository. Yes. And every Saturday morning, we would go to the church. As if we needed to go one more time, we would go. We would go and pack boxes and feed the community. And I'm just like, you know, it was a beautiful thing. Like, when you get older, now when you're a child, you're like, why in the world are we doing this? But when you get older, you see like how foundational that was, how important it was, how much we were modeling the ministry of Jesus to care for those in need.
I never forget it. It was one Sunday, and they gave dinners. And I don't know what was going on. I think I caught myself trying to help in the kitchen. I don't know what I was doing. And so I remember your grandfather, I had a plate, and I don't know who I was giving it to. And he just started fussing. Put some more on that plate. Who you giving that plate to? Put some on that plate. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Listen.
Remember that. I don't know why I remember that, but he was just fussing at me. I'm like, okay, yes, sir. Let me go.
That's what he did. He was a fusser. He gonna sit on the side and give them orders. You know, that's what he did.
It reminded us of being an AFC.
Yes.
It really did remind us of being an AFC, because
it was scary.
Because Chantel, and we're gonna get into it, like, it was hard for me and my sister to come to Faith Pentecostal. It was difficult. and like you, David, the Jacksons, all of them like that, that helped us. But then when your grandfather kind of, he started treating us like our grandfather, you know, just barking orders at us and telling us what we needed to do. And it's like, oh, well, we back at AFC again. All right, Trigger, let's get this. but we enjoyed it. But for you, growing up as a PK under your grandfather first, what was that like? And then seeing so many other ministers in your family.
I always say, you know, it's easier to look at it on this side. Growing up, I didn't really, like, I knew things were different, but I didn't really understand what was happening. You know what I mean? There were certain expectations, and they were so like, it just used to wear me out. Like, if I didn't wear stockings, listen. It was like World War III. And because, you know, this is like hardcore Pentecostal, okay? And when I didn't wear stockings, it was like, whoa, you know, the pastor's granddaughter ain't got on no stockings. Now, everybody else up in there that wasn't family could look like they was coming straight from the club. But I had to have on some stockings.
I think most of them was coming from the club, wasn't it?
There was some of them was, yeah.
But it was a club right down the street, though.
It was. And so, you know, it was just these unspoken rules and expectations that, you know, if you didn't know already, you kind of became aware of as things would happen or unfold. And my grandfather was a great man, but he was a fusser, and he would one thing about my grandfather was I find myself being delivered from this today, even still, but he didn't want his family to appear as if they were better than anyone. So it was push everybody else to the forefront. It was make sure everybody else leads a song. It was because he didn't want that stigma that sometimes preachers carry, that, you know, my family this is the first family and we are on display. And so he didn't want that. And I remember one time my grandfather took a mic out of my hand. I was like, let somebody else lead the song. And I was like, they don't even want to sing.
Was they can't sing. Yeah.
And so, you know, of course I got in trouble. And then you know, it was things like that. And I had a unique experience with my grandfather because we oftentimes lived in the same building as my grandfather. And he saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. So while a lot of my cousins would be playing or doing other things, my grandfather pulled me in at a young age to the church business. And so I began to work in the office. I was counting the offering. I was developing new systems, you know, doing all the spreadsheets. And ultimately I would end up being my uncle's assistant then. And I told him, we were just joking the other day. I said, you know, I became fancy and I love you because you were my first example of, you know, executive leadership, because you just let me make my own titles. And I became the executive pastoral assistant. I was like, and you never stopped me. You were like, okay, that's what we're gonna call it now. So, but yeah, I think all of those things kind of prepared me to even run business today. Like the things that I'm doing now, it requires a level of business savvy that I think even as young as 12 years old, I was learning in the church because of my grandfather.
He saw that. So it was preparing you for where you are. So it wasn't time wasted, that's for sure.
So Chantel, do you feel like there's parts of that transition from being set aside where it became annoying, or did you kind of welcomely accept that piece of it?
I would agree that I don't know if it was, yeah, it's like more frustration. And I will tell you this, what I've come to realize is that in some spaces I was just fake. Like, because there was a part of me, especially during my formative years, and this is what I've learned just about children in general, from like 18 to 25.
Oh, by
There's
the
a
way,
level of
can we explain what formative means for
for you, James? For
yeah,
you?
for me.
No.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness.
Well, well, there are times where you there are what they would call, and they, I mean, just general medicine would call formative, would probably be between like 8 and 12, but then there's a more solidified age between like 18 and 25, where you're just kind of exploring, right? Everything that we were taught, we kind of rebel against. We kind of like want to see what's out there. And so during those time periods of my life, I realized there was a certain level of honor, but there was also a certain level of falsehood. I knew that there were certain things that I couldn't do. And so I would do them far away from the church, but then come to the church. So, I was in college drinking, but then I would be in church on Sundays singing and leading worship, because I wanted to just be free. I wanted to see what else was out there. I wanted to explore and spread my wings. And because I was pulled so soon, so early, I began to just kind of reach for some things. And for a while, it was just living in a false space. And I actually wrote a devotional for worshipers and leaders who've gone through trauma and are in the church. And the one specific chapter where I talk about that, it is called Worshiping from a Foul Space.
Mm.
And it's just trying to be one thing over here and appear as something else over there. And one thing about the elder saints was that they could tell, baby. They be like, that they could, I don't care how holy you try to appear, they would know, something off. You ain't got it today. You missed it today. You in something you don't have no business being in. And so, thank God I didn't remain there, because there are many of us that kind of matriculate through the church, go through the church, grow up in the church, that remain in this like falsehood space of like having to put on masks and fake and be something that you're really not, and you don't ever really grow into full maturity. And but it was hard for a while, because I was like, I just want to figure out who I am. Not who you all are telling me I need to be, not singing every song, not being slated to maybe I'll be the next preacher, because everybody was like, it was like, that's the next thing to do. You're going to be a minister, you're going to get ordained. And it's like, I don't know if I want to do that.
Right.
And you know what's funny, Chantel? I totally agree with that. I think sometimes when your gift comes without repentance, sometimes you feel like you in God's presence and you're not.
Yeah.
And it's funny how you have to, I think I've gotten there probably in the last 3 years where I'm just like, wait a minute, something's off with my worship. Yeah, I'm not there. I'm actually not there. I think I'm there, but I'm not there.
Yeah.
Never been there.
Y'all gonna stop that, because remember, I went to Apostles Are Us and I got saved.
Okay. All right.
Apostles Are Us. They got discounts.
Apostles Are Up.
$6.99 per pound. You know what I mean?
That's so funny.
They're just passing out license nowadays, It only takes about 30 minutes.
But do you think, now that your mom's a pastor, do you feel as though, even though things are different, do you feel that pressure is a little bit more intense?
Not necessarily from her. I think it's kind of, I'm living in the middle of a tension, and I think the tension for me is, at one point it was everybody's got to be a minister, and now it's everybody's going to be a pastor. And for me, I don't think I will pastor the traditional way.
Mm.
I don't. I think what I do now is very pastoral. There are people who have submitted themselves to the ministry. There are people who I mentor. There are, and then I also sit on a pastoral staff. And so I take several pastoral calls every week, praying for people, walking them through their situations in their lives, in their marriages, in their families. And so I think I'm wrestling with that tension of, will I be the traditional pastor? Will I be a senior pastor that runs a church? And I'm not certain that that's the path for me.
I got you. So in your teenage years, because me and you and Dave, we used to run together when it came to music, going to different concerts. I mean, like, that was awesome because you always knew what was going on. So we was just like, Chantel, what's going on? And actually, me and David was following you because we knew the girls were going to be there, So that's why.
Yeah, I was okay. That's what we're talking about right now.
No.
I told you he not saved yet. He is like.
We're talking about when I was a teenager. We were talking about when I was a teenager.
It's the Apostles RS that he returned.
Yeah. During the teenage years, do you feel like it's more of you're trying to find your identity? Because a lot of times as preachers' kids, we assume or we kind of take over the identity of our parents. Or do you think that you were actually running, or you were just really trying to figure out the space in which you operated in?
I think there was a whole lot of trying to figure out who I was in general for a while. Mainly because my dad wasn't in our home. And that relationship has been developed over years, but that kind of, and I remember clear as day, I had to be at least 16, and your father released the word of the Lord to me, and I it still rings in my ears. And he was like, the Lord wants to father you. The Lord wants to father you. And he says to you, will you let me be your father? I remember that clear as day, and I just wept and wept and wept. And so part of that was, not only was I trying to figure out who I was, but I think I was looking for something else. My family they were really good. They were really good to me. My mother, she worked, she took care of us. My uncles and family members were very present, but there was something missing. I call that now, just kind of like the capitalism syndrome, or we always want what we don't have. So we always want more. And so if you don't have a mother or father in the home, you're searching for that. If you have two parents, they didn't do enough, It's just like the nature of human beings is to want more. And so I think it was kind of both of those things for me. I was looking for that void to be filled. I was trying to find out who I was. And I've learned this throughout the years, I am very kind of black and white, straight cut, which can be difficult to understand at a young age. So I always felt awkward amongst my cousins because, I was always super serious. And so I was, I wanted things planned out. I wanted to control things. And they were just kind of trying to live life and figure things out too. And so I learned at a later space, part of that was I felt like I didn't belong. I was in the room full of people.
I'm laughing because I had a visual. You always have a serious face all the time. It's real deep. Like, you was trying to look through the wall, girl?
Yeah, the trick of this is the first time I'm actually seeing her smile. This is
No, now you know you lying. You're lying. You're lying, devil. You're lying.
I was like, this is deep all the time.
I
I'm
just
like,
ask God to forgive me because I am lying. I'm sorry.
But you know what? No. But no,
listen.
it was because, and I, again, years and time and space, I've been able to kind of just figure out who am I? How do I function? And I realized most of the times I was looking serious because I live in my head. I'm like always overthinking everything. Did I sing that right? Did I do that right? Is somebody looking at me? Are they going to say this about me? You know, I was like an overdrive in my head all the time. I really was not being deep. I was just kind of focused on the task at hand because I'm kind of really monolithic. And that was just me. Like, and I didn't feel like I belonged, which was kind of interesting. And I think it just kind of stemmed from the situation at hand, not that anybody made me feel that way. I just was kind of wrestling through that.
Someone asked you a question, Chantel.
Uh-huh.
They wanted to know what do you mean in regards to your take on not being a traditional pastor? Like, explain what do you mean by that?
So there are people who are extremely pastoral, but will never be a senior pastor. There are elements to being a pastor that are different. Is I've been able to serve and minister at different denominations, within different denominations and different cultures. And so the path by which the Black church understands being a pastor is to be the senior lead pastor of a church. Right. They're moving into learning how to have associate pastors and other ministers on staff. But this is kind of like a very present thing in other ministries. The staff that I sit on is about 5 or 6 pastors of the church. There's a senior pastor, and then there are several other pastors over several ministries. And then there are some denominations or people groups that actually go to school to get a degree to be a pastor and never pastor a church, but they are still a pastor. Yeah. They are considered a pastor. And so what I mean by that is that I am extremely pastoral in nature. I sit on a pastoral staff, but I don't believe that I am assigned to the 4 walls of one local body for the rest of my life. I don't think that that's my job.
And I'll take it a step further. I think in our denomination, the Kojic, Pentecostal, we identify pastors as elders,
right,
ministers,
right.
deacons. But outside of denominations, they identify them as pastors.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So hopefully I understood that. Yeah, she said, okay, I understand. Okay, cool. Thank you, Chantel.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I always say this, and my husband says, he says the same thing to me that my grandfather says, don't make plans for God, because my grandfather used to say this all the time, the very thing you say you're not going to do, you end up doing. I was like, okay, well, what I will say is, if in fact that's what the Lord requires, yeah. I see myself doing that later in life. Right now, I know, because I believe, this is just me, I believe that pastors should not frequently leave their body that they're leading. It is disruptive. And so that's why I say I don't think I'm called to that, because I know right now in this season of my life, the Lord has me traveling. The Lord is sending me abroad. And so I think pastors should be planted.
Yes.
Because the purpose is to grow and care for the sheep. I'm of that opinion. I know everybody else may not be, because we have celebrity pastors now, but I just personally don't, that's me. So that's what I mean by really just kind of the non-traditional thing too. I think you're called to a group of people, and that people deserves that investment of your time, of you being there, of you helping them grow. And yeah, so
another question, not to keep grilling Chantel, but we're gonna grill you, Chantel.
I'm good.
But it's kind of a twofold question. So, me and Phil, I love Phil. Phil, I love you, dog.
Okay, I'm gonna let you have that. Go ahead.
But how does it help having a husband that is a preacher's kid, and vice versa? Maybe you can speak on his behalf. How does that help with you both dealing with your parents and dealing with different churches and stuff and working with each other in the ministry?
So for the ministry, it's great. For our parents, it's great. For us, we're like, what the heck are we doing? What the heck is going on?
I know it's too much. It's got to be too
much. Because one of the things that I would have loved to be a member at my mom's church. And I'm a surrogate member. I say that all the time because I'm there. I lead worship. Whatever they're doing, I do. Because when you're a PK, it don't matter. You got dual membership, okay?
Right. Yeah, you do.
God bless.
Yes, you do.
So, and then I married a pastor's son. So now we got triple membership. But the Lord had commissioned us to kind of be on this journey, to move outside of even our cultural context, to be a part of a different community. And so the church that we attend as a family is Grace and Peace. And that is the staff that I work on. So I'm on that staff. We do stuff with mom's church. We do stuff with dad's church. And we just like, what? What?
Y'all just be at different churches saying different names. Y'all know y'all names. God bless
right.
you.
I don't listen. I'm just here. Glory to God, people. Hey. Thanks. I remember one weekend we had done so much, and I looked at my husband and I was like, "Is this gonna be our life for the rest? Is this what we doing for the rest of our life?" And then because dad is a startup ministry. He's been in ministry for years, but the church is newer. And then mom's ministry is about 6 or 7 years old now. At the inception of it, as their children, you want to see the ministry flourish. And so if my mom is having a hard time, yes, I'm going to make sure that I'm there to support, to push, to help this grow, because I know she's assigned to this work and I want to be there to support her. And vice versa. And then the work that God has assigned us to do. And so it really is an extreme balancing act. It really is an extreme, and sometimes it's difficult, but we have to be able to say, okay, we cannot do this year. We cannot be present here this year. And we have to take space because we are also leading companies and businesses and ministries ourselves. Just take space to be like, we just need to be together, and to minister to one another, and just kind of be that support for one another. So it has been, our lives is, listen, if we don't go to heaven after this, somebody getting cussed out. Just gonna say.
Well, we already know Trika's on a kind of 50-50 plan. So
Listen, I'm just saying.
She's gonna be on Spirit Airlines, so we don't know.
No, oh my God.
That is really...
no, not like, but it's just like you devoted your life to this, right, to the work of the ministry, and not just like doing stuff, not just going to the church, but we care right, about the stuff. Let me tell y'all something, 2 blizzards in a row. My mother has been, Chantel, the Lord has said, we have to go out and deliver soup and sandwiches to the homeless people.
That's mama for you. That is her. That is her.
And listen, when the Lord told her, He spoke twice. He spoke for her and me, I guess. And so, no, I'm just playing. Y'all know I love Mom. But that's it's a way of life. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And I'm like, I don't care nothing about no blizzard. It's people out here that need to be loved, that need to be cared for. And so this is our life.
right.
Ministry is our life, doing life with people, caring for the others, the less fortunate, the people on the margins. This is our life.
It is. It is. So do you ever find yourself being reflective? So you're raising two babies now. Do
Whew.
you like when they have certain expressions, right? Do you ever become like reflective of like what you kind of went through? Like, yeah, I understand why she feel like that, but
Yeah.
she still gotta.
You know what? Partially, sometimes I'm not gonna lie, I'm probably petty with them because I'm halfway thinking in my head, y'all ain't gotta go through nothing the way we went through it.
Don't do that to the Nisi Poo and the don't.
We were in church almost 7 days a week. Like what? And
No,
you
it was
mad
9
because you gotta
days a
stay
week.
awake for 2 hours? No, you going to church. What? No, but there are times where we are just kind of like, we do want them to have the freedom to be children, and to Jaden is very expressive in the arts. Cameron is really expressive in music and dancing, and both of them kind of really just artistic children. And so, we want them to express themselves. We want them to have fun. But we also do want to train them up because we don't see that. And so the last thing that we had them do, and listen, they were like, oh my God, we can't believe this. But we went on 21-day fast and we made them fast with us.
She sound like Mama. She sound like.
I almost choked. Don't make me run back to the bathroom again. I'm trying to keep it together.
She's putting the babies on a 21-day fast, but we understand.
Yes, because we live in the United States, and childhood obesity is real number one. No, but two, like, I think that this world is becoming more wicked.
The principalities of the air are
stronger than they've ever been. And there's so many agendas that are after little children. My 4th grader just took a puberty class. You know what I mean? And so if anybody is going to get ahead of anything, if they're going to learn anything, if they're going to be open with anybody, it's going to be us. And we want to have that door, but we also want them to develop their relationship with God. And so after the fast, we actually did an assessment. Tell me what you did good on this fast. How much did you spend time in prayer? What are some areas that you can grow? And there are expectations that we have for our children because we want them to develop a relationship with God outside of us, because they're going to need it outside of us. And I think too many people think that that your relationship with God develops by osmosis, especially in the Pentecostal church. A lot of stuff is not taught; it's just kind of caught. So you watch and you learn and you pick up things here and there, but some things are not very intentional about the way we raise up our children. And then when they get to a certain age, we just expect them to be full of the Holy Ghost. And it's like, how? You expect them to turn on all this stuff, and it's like they needed it as children. And so we are just of the opinion that we bring our children into relationship with God by modeling it and by including them in on our relationship as well. Our children prophesy over us.
Well, Chantel, like, this is not a preacher's kid question, but do you think, like, us growing up, we were almost around the same age, all of us, 2 or 3 year difference between all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that helped us as a broadband, like, including a lot of us, I'm not gonna name any names, but a lot of us, because a lot of us are doing stuff in ministry and working with different ministries and helping different ministries and being a focal part in a ministry. Do you think us all growing up around the same time helped?
Yeah, I think the timing, I think the people, because people build people, not spaces, right? So there are people who are that are our age that are pretty different, you know.
Okay, which age you talking about? I'm in my 40s.
I'm talking about, listen, and I'm like legit behind you. I'll be 37. So I'm gonna say from 20 to 40, just up in that age range, just right up in there. There are people who they didn't have the type of upbringing that we had. And while in some cases it was strict, and in some cases it may have been a little excessive, I'm grateful for it because it developed character. It developed grit. We not soft. Ain't too much of nothing gonna come our way that's gonna rock us, that's going to have us out here ready to take our lives or anything like that. And things get hard. I'm not saying that we don't have low moments, and we don't have, but like every little thing is not tossing you and turning you because of that. And so we reach some low places, but God always brings us out of it. And I think that's the benefit of having a solid foundation, having solid people around you, having people like, my mom, your dad, always saying, no, you can do this. No, you can do that. Constantly affirming you, constantly pushing you to the forefront and saying, it may be hard, but this is what you are made for. This is what you are called for. The Lord has his hand upon you. That constant affirmation is beautiful, and most people don't even get that in their natural homes, let alone in the church.
Yeah. And our parents, I can speak for they were kind of radical with stuff.
They were
walk on water type people. What you mean? No, yeah, we gonna do it. Don't worry about it. No, we are doing it, and it's going to work out just fine. You're like, what? Okay, it's a blender, like you said.
I would actually say, I think, and we're going back to like following our parents' ministry. Like again, we were so unhappy going there because we had to go to Memphis, and then our dad was going to Pastor Bobby's at one point, and then we ended up going there, and we were just so unhappy because we just felt like we were getting moved all around, and then we were just like, man, what is going on? But I think what God had a bigger plan, because our faith development, because all those churches that we were following our parents, they were all focused on faith. Everything was focused on faith. Even like with your grandma, we would literally have 5 people at the church, and
y'all talking about the midnight musicals, because that was her service.
Yeah.
And every midnight musical, she was trying to raise $1 million.
It would be like legit 2.5 people there. You'd be like,
and she would do it. And she would do it. And I think I was like, okay. And it was even, and like at my grandfather's church, I just sang at my grandfather's church. Going to you guys' church is where I got the opportunity to play. And I'll never forget when your uncle called. It was me, Kurt, and David, and said, you guys are our musicians. And you guys are going to play for us. And we were just like, oh, man. What,
man? Like, where is this happening? How is this? They like, don't worry about it, because oil is the cure-all. Okay? Right. Get the blessed oil. We about to anoint y'all. Tomorrow, y'all going to learn how to play. Okay? You just go. Matter of fact, not tomorrow. In 5 minutes, it's going to take effect.
I was playing 1 or 2 notes, and because I tried to play the drums and I failed miserably at the church. And y'all was like,
that ain't working.
Get this brother off the drums quickly. But it was one of those things where after Pastor Jackson prayed for us, then you were kind of like you helped kind of bring all 3 of us. I can really speak for me, but you helped me kind of develop what it really meant to be a musician. You know what I mean? Like, you
I
really.
do know. And honestly, the truth of the matter is I had no idea what I was doing. But I was gonna act like I did the whole time. I learned some things. Yeah, nobody, you just you're thrown in there. And honestly, it was a beautiful thing because we were like growing together. You know what I mean? And y'all would trust me. I'm like, hey, let's do this with this song. Hey, let's do that. And let's see how this works together. And it was so funny because my friends would tell me, we come to Faith Pentecost because y'all just sing the randomest stuff. Like, y'all not singing everything that everybody else singing. Y'all gonna sing Kimberell. Y'all gonna sing a random Fred Hammond song that like ain't the regular song. Like when we flipped the Israel Holden song, Hope in the Future, people like, what album is this on? We were like, just trying out stuff.
Right. I saw you singing with your group and your daughter, and I was like, man, I missed that. Like, because like we literally, you be like, hey, let's go here, and we like, me and Dave were like, yeah, they're gonna have some girls there, but we would go there, and you would literally, slap in the back of the head like, yo, James, pay attention to that bass player, that's so and so.
Yeah.
David. Or I'll never forget, we Pastor Hannah had his service.
Mm-hmm.
And it was at Julian, or was it Julian or Finger?
Finger at the time.
Yeah, and David had just started playing, I believe. And Pastor Hannah's like, is there an organist here? Is there an organist here? And so you reached over to David, like, get up there. And she was always doing that with me and David. Just go ahead. And she was like, go up there and play. And David went up there and played. He did great.
Wow.
Absolutely. He wouldn't do it now though. He'd be like, nah, I ain't doing that.
But David is such an amazing organist.
He is. But he say I put him on the spot. But I'm like, I think one of the things that God has used is I'm not necessarily spontaneous, but I don't mind taking a risk. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, let's see if this works.
Yes,
let's see if this works, and if we fail, we fail. I'm sorry. But, let's see what God does. And I think, honestly, that's been one of the beauties of that people don't talk about, like even with this whole obsession with the prophetic. That's one of the beauties of the prophetic, right? Just take a risk. Just taking a risk. You believe this is what God says. You believe this is like something that may work out for you. You feel an unction, take the risk. And so, yeah, I used to do that all the time to y'all. And now you're an amazing bass player. You moved away from us. And yeah, that's probably the nicest thing you'll hear me say about you on this live.
So, all right, so we got about 7 minutes. I want you to kind of talk about your learnings from being a preacher's kid. And then also, because we want to open up to people that are actually raising preacher's kids too. Like me and Trika don't have children just yet that I know of.
Mercy, Lord.
I'm just playing, Saints. I'm just playing. That's Apostle hands, I'm just playing. But for real, I want you to talk about your experience and what you learned and what other people how to deal with being a preacher's kid and also raising preacher's kids and give your advice to the people out there.
Yeah. There's so much that I've learned from just my upbringing, being a preacher's kid to today, still being a preacher's kid. I would say, like you said, to be deeply rooted in your faith, to have your own relationship with God. And that's been just really a blessing for me, something I had to really grow into. My mother tells me all the time, if God is not saying to you to do it, don't. So whether that be to leave my house to go to the grocery store or to take an engagement, because she always tells me that God is not obligated to bless something he did not tell you to do. Mm. So just really relying on God. There are a lot of people out here who are preachers' kids who feel that pressure, and especially today because being a PK comes with so much platform, and everybody wants to be the next platformed preacher. And so I would say deal with them with grace. Deal with them and give them the space for grace and growth. Like, they're gonna mess up. They're going to try to figure things out. They're gonna and we just need space. Yes, hold them accountable. But this cancel culture thing that exists in the world today is not godly. If you were canceled for every
Can you say it again, Chantel?
it is not godly. And if you were canceled for every mistake you made or even one, none of us would have matriculated to the spaces that we're in. And I don't think that we should do that to one another. It's not a kingdom principle. So I think that we should be very, very gracious when it comes to those leaders, because they become leaders as babies. They become leaders as children. You walk into a Sunday school class and you think everything is all right. Now you the pastor's kids. So, and then I would also say, please stop releasing these word curses over them. The pastor kids is the worst ones. No, they're not. Your child don't hear one. Stop. Like, that's not always the truth. Stop. They are going through their process.
Yeah, your son killed 5 people last week. He's not worse than you.
Or I'm right. I'm not worse than that. You know what I mean? Like, stop doing that. That's bad. It's all kinds of craziness going on in the world. And it's like, but them the pastor kid, they the word. No, that's a word curse and a lie from the pit of hell. Stop it. They are children. They are people going through life just like you. The only difference is they are a constant spectacle. They are constantly on display. And of course, because of that, they're held to a higher standard. I would say for those who are raising PKs, raising babies like mine who are always in ministry, always in the church, give these folks some space to be kids, but also in today's world, I would say they need a little more, they need the reins pulled a little bit more, because it's just really tough out here. And so, yes, create spaces that you can kind of govern to allow them to be with their peers, but also bring them into the things of God early. Children's church shouldn't just be about coloring, and teach them teach them the scriptures, teach them the word, teach them how to develop their own relationship with God. I was talking to Treek about Jaden, and Jaden told me this year, I want the Holy Ghost. She's 9. I want the Holy Ghost, mama.
Is she 9? I'm getting old. Oh my God.
Yeah, she's 9. She's 9. She'll be 10 in April. But she came to me saying that. Yep, she'll be 10 in April.
I'm getting old. Wow. Anyway, Chantel, I'm sorry.
No, you good. But yeah, so
Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, so just that, like inviting them into their own relationship with God and helping them to see God in the ways that make sense to them and honor that. Jaden has many times shared words with her friends, and they're like, where did this kid come from? Well, we keep her in environments that foster, her God-given gifts and talents. And do she always get it? Lie sometimes? Does she act a fool? Absolutely, she's not. But we're inviting her into her own relationship with the Father. And so I think that's how we can parent these children these days. Don't give them all this. They could, if they want to go to church, they could possibly think they might want to go to church, and they don't have to. Nah, come on. Especially, I would say, yes, I'm an advocate for fathers being in the home and a beautiful, family life. But Jewish tradition teaches that faith is passed down to through the mother. So let me tell y'all mamas out here, Get them babies in church. Teach them babies something about, make sure, that they are rooted in their word. I told my son, I said, listen, you got to step your prayer game up. You can pray, but you got to step it up. He's like, that's true, Mom. That's true. And they listen, so now they'll come. I prayed today. I did this, give them that space to talk about their relationship with God to you as well.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Go ahead, Trika.
You can hear me?
Go ahead. We can hear you.
Okay. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Chantel, for just this. It went too fast.
It went too fast.
It did. It was so much fun.
But I appreciate you taking out the time in your extremely hectic schedule for joining my brother and I, for just being being you. Don't change. I mean, we could have kept going. But thank you, audience, for just tuning in. If you could do me a favor, please share this video, like it, go to my YouTube page. You can also go back and view it and check it out. There was a lot of good nuggets, a lot of good nuggets. And there's a lot of stuff we didn't even get a chance to.
Yeah, we didn't even go through yet. We didn't go through all the really bad stuff, like the hot stuff.
And if you get a chance to check her out, she does have a website. Go ahead, tell the people your website.
Yes,
Chantel.
it is my name. It is www.chantelvarnado.com. Somebody's like, you really like your name? I was like, no, it's the easiest thing to remember. So that is what it is. chantelvarnado.com.
And then also you can go to iamtrikav.com to subscribe to my mailing list. And also, please continue to check back in with us. We're doing some stuff. I don't know what's going to be going on, but I want to say thank you to my brother because he is the spearhead. He's the think tank because my brain be fried. So
She went to the schools that they do coloring books. She went to the Sunday school where they do coloring books. That's what it is. Anyway, sorry, Trick, go ahead.
See, the people don't know I didn't like Sunday school.
It shows.
James, you are fired. Okay, after we get off of here,
I'm sorry.
In about 2 seconds.
We're gonna have to have a talk.
So thank you, everybody. I appreciate you, Chantel. Please go check her out. And thank you so much, Phil, for allowing your wife to hang out with us. Next time, sir, you must join your wife because you
absolutely.
And David too. And David.
Yeah, David, sirs. I put out.
He just called me too, so I'm like,
why he just calling you?
He probably is not. He may be at work, so he asked me to do something for him. So when I tell him, he's gonna be like, "Oh, I'm sorry."
So thank you for watching. I love you guys.
Love you too.
And I love y'all. Thank you.
Love you.
For everything. And until we meet again, bye.